the Korean American Family Services Center, KAFSC, is the question about the OVW funding. OVW stands for the Office on Violence Against Women. So what actions are being taken to ensure that OVW funding remains protected and robust so that organizations like KFSC can continue to meet the urgent and unique needs of immigrant survivors, especially in this time of heightened uncertainty?
I can start. First, I want to give a shout out to Jihei Fisher because yesterday on NPR Public Radio, I got to hear Jihei talk about the important work and the important cultural appropriate services that groups like KAFSC provides. And I was really proud to hear about that, especially on national public radio. I do sit on the subcommittee that determines the Department of Justice budget, which this grant and funding falls under. I'm the highest ranking Democrat, so we work or try to work closely with the chairman. Every year that I have been on the subcommittee, I have advocated for the highest levels of funding for this office and this program. Now, one thing that is troubling for this year, and Tom is right that the Senate actually did better than what the House is trying to propose, is that within this OVW account, there are something called culturally specific programs. And this program was completely eliminated by the House Republicans. It's still in there on the Senate side, so we're hoping to be able to negotiate and make sure that that money stays in there.
So these are very, very sophisticated questions that you're asking, and it's important that people understand what's going on right now in the Congress. So in the United States Constitution, it's up to the House of Representatives and the United States Senate to has the power of the purse. We decide what's going to happen as far as the funding. So there's three branches of government. There's the executive branch, that's the president and all the departments. Then it's the legislative branch, which is the House and the Senate. And then it's the judicial branch. And we're all equal. We're not one's not more powerful than the other. Under this administration right now, they're trying to make it that the executive branch has all the power and that the Congress is not as important as it's been historically, especially in the area of the power of the purse. You know, what happens with the money? And so what's happened is we pass a budget, and this administration, the executive branch, the president and his staff, is saying, oh, you passed a budget through the Congress and the Senate, but we don't want to fund all the things that you said we should fund. We're not going to spend the money the way you said that we should spend the money. And in the specific example of this program, which is the Korean American Family Service Center, which does this important work, this comes under the Attorney General of the United States of America. And Pam Bondi, who is the Attorney General, is decreasing the funding and not spending the money where it's supposed to be spent. And they're proposing in the budget from the president, proposing a budget to the House and the Senate, that we spend 30% less than we've spent in the previous years. So dramatically less funding than historically. So just this past, I think this week, Senator Collins asked Pam Bondi in a hearing, she said, you know, why are these funding levels being decreased when the office provides such important vital services that you, of course, know about? And she said, quote, I hope we can work together to get to a better place on the budget, because I'm convinced from talking with advocacy groups and with survivors themselves, we need to do more. So Grace and I have always supported the Violence Against Women's Act. We supported the previous administration's increase in the funding that they did, and we're against the idea of cutting this funding dramatically. So we need to just keep on really fighting for this. Grace and I were both on a bipartisan letter to Pam Bondi earlier this year saying that they should not withdraw the 2025 funding opportunities, which is awful. So, there's about a dozen Republicans that support the Democrats or support the Violence Against Women's Act, but there's only 12 of them out of over 200. So we need to try and get more of them to help us to move forward. But we're going to keep on fighting because this is a very important program. But this is kind of like the big picture stuff that's happening that you see on the news at night. This administration is cutting some of the most important programs at the same time that they're giving tax breaks to some of the wealthiest people in the country. At the same time, they're blowing the biggest hole in the deficit we've ever had in the history of the country. And one of the programs that's being proposed to be cut is the program that funds a program like the Korean American Family Service Center that provides services to women that are subject to violence. So we're going to keep on fighting against this.